Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Temitope Olodo, and it's a great pleasure to talk to you today about the ongoing challenges that we have in Nigeria, which is to do with school security. As you are fully aware, this is one area of passion for me. This is one area of passion for me, especially when it comes to school security, because I've written a book about it. Actually, it's one of those areas that I really enjoy writing on. And I'm talking about 6 years ago that I actually wrote on some of the challenges in our schools. And for anyone that has been following Nigerian security challenges, you will recognize very quickly that in 2014, actually in April 2014, we had an incident where over 200 plus Nigerian youths, were taken away from their school then and tagged the Chibok girls. That more or less shook the whole world, from President Obama to Prime Minister Cameron, all saying bring back our girls, and then the campaign started. The Bring Back Our Girls campaign started. And it's unfortunate that even up to now, 6 years down the line, not all the girls have been brought back, and we've not actually have a good explanation for why those girls have not been brought back. This is an area of interest for me personally, and I want to talk about it intensively, starting from the Chibok girls, because yesterday, which is Friday, around 10 p.m., some girls some kids or children from a government school in Katsina were taken away. Initially, it was thought that about 500-600 kids, it was alleged in the newspaper, could not be found because, of course, most of them had the gunshot and the bandits, as alleged, because we need to talk about that, drove into the school, killed the gatesman. A lot of people went missing. A lot of parents took their kids away. But what is happening now is that it's now confirmed that about 54 kids are missing. And the president, of course, has spoken about it. He's giving, he's expressed his concern and sadness about it, and also, express concern that, command or instructed the security services to look into this issue, to address this issue once and for all. But we need to ask the question. This has been happening for many years now, many years. In fact, we could talk about been happening since 2009, because at least an average of 1,000 schools were destroyed, and many teachers or many lecturers in schools were killed. So the question here is, why is it that our security strategy for schools are not effective? That is the question that you and me need to be asking each other. And if you are saying to yourself, or you are thinking now, oh, my parents are not there, my siblings are not there, my family members are not there, please remember that armed robbers also went, or kidnappers, if you want to call them, also went into Lagos and actually took away some kids from a school, going through the riverside until those kids were taken back, to their loved ones unarmed. But the question is, across the length and breadth of Nigeria, banditry has taken one shape, one form, one shape or the other, and now they are moving away from just kidnapping people in their farms, picking people up on the motorway. They are now moving into schools. Those are vulnerable places where they know emotion will be involved. People will need to pay up. In fact, this is not new, because just few weeks ago, kids of Ahmadu Bello University, I believe Zaria, on traveling along the Abuja-Kaduna road, were adopted, and their parents had to pay money, and there was a lot of controversy about it, because The police were saying no, there was no ransom. All the family, the kids, all the people have been given back to their parents. But the parents came out and said, no, 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 we actually paid money. And then we need to start asking questions. What kind of intelligence is the police using? What kind of intelligence? Please remember, it's important to highlight that the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is actually in Katsina as we speak. Is in that town. Imagine the commander-in-chief of the American forces being in New York, and then the people are going very close to where he is to kidnap people or adopt people. It's unheard of. The state should be more or less in a semi-lockdown with security checks all around. But that is not what we are seeing that is happening in Nigeria. In fact, what we are seeing that is happening in Nigeria is that they are actually rubbing insults on the president by going to his hometown when he was in town to say to him that we have no respect for you. We can carry out our activities at any time and we can go get away with it. That must not be allowed. We must not allow this madness to continue, because I call it madness. So let's go back to 2014, because that is very, 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 very important. Because 2014 was, remember, prior to that, there was the burning alive of children, of boys in school. Because see, Boko Haram is about, when you look at it from a direct translation, is Haram. That book is Haram. Western education is Haram. Boko Haram. So that is what it is. And for that reason, they concentrated on attacking schools, because they wanted a situation where, people, they believe more in the Islamic teaching, and considering that, of course, most of these states in the north are Sharia states, so definitely you will assume, just like me, that you got Sharia, so there's no reason why you should really be angry. But no, Boko Haram was really keen to ensure that Western education was eradicated. That's part of their memo. That's part of what they are known for. So Boko Haram is well known as part of their war mark for going after schools. And in fact, that for anyone that could remember vividly, when the Kapchi incident happened in Yobe, when it happened, they brought back the kids and they said clearly, do not send your kids back to those schools. Do not send them back to this Western education, because if you send them back, we will come after them and pick them up again. And we saw the video all over the newspaper, all over the news. So it is a serious, serious issue that we need to start asking ourselves, why have we gotten to this situation? It's so sad, just like May is saying, Ode, it is so sad that we've got to a situation where people could go into our schools and pick up our kids, and there's nothing we could do about it. I would like to remind you, I had the privilege of attending an event that was held in the House of Parliament, during that crisis of the Chibok case, when it was still hot. And Ngozi Owana, who was the Minister of Finance, was there. Was she still? I wasn't sure. I think, yes, she was still the Minister of Finance. She was there. And Gordon Brown, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, was there. And we spoke, discussed some of these issues and how it could be moved forward. And as a result, they created what was called a safe school initiative, which was an opportunity for people to get money, to secure schools. So I'm concerned that even up to now, that money which was raised, a lot of money was raised. I think it was 100 million, if I'm right, that was meant to be raised, and many people were meant to put money into it. What we found out that that money is there, and a lot of people tap into that money. And my question would be, why is schools like this in northern Nigeria not having that money? But remember also, because we need to start dropping things into this discussion. that during the Chibok girls, during the captured girls issue, the question that was raised was to do with the withdrawal of security from the school environment or from that vicinity, that area, which made it easier for Boko Haram to actually go in. And there was a discussion that it looks as if, the military must have gotten, information and intelligence, and that's the reason why they withdrew themselves from that environment, which gave, these people an opportunity for them to go in there and pick up the girls. When they picked up the girls, they returned all the girls after negotiation, except for one girl whose name is Leah Sharibu, and she's still in captivity. There is a discussion that there is even report that she has already given birth, because one of the arguments I have made was that because she refused to convert to Islam as of that time, because that was the story that came out, and she refused to convert. I said there at that point in time that these particular individuals that were involved in this kind of adoption will ensure that she gets pregnant, because that's part of the narrative, to get her pregnant. And then when she's brought that back, we will now see people coming out and saying, do not remove that pregnancy, especially from that particular sector or that particular area of religion, saying do not remove the pregnancy. Consider that this girl is a Christian. The mom had been to London, the dad has spoken, the family is devastated, and yet up to now, nothing has been done. And I have made recommendations on this issue, which is why I get irritated when I see this kind of thing happening. I've made recommendation that it is impossible, nearly impossible, for the military to effectively bring back the Chibok girl, Leah Sharibu, and now this particular incident in Katsina, if they do not have a delegated team dealing with it. Because what the military are trying to do now is get rid of Boko Haram and contain the environment where they've been driven out. Now, there's the argument from a school of thought that because of the heated battle that is taking place in northeast Nigeria, some of Boko Haram elements have actually drifted away from that part of the country into the northwest, north central, and they are part of those involved in banditry. Now, if that is the case, that will explain more or less why anybody will go into a school to pick up kids for ransom. Remember, banditry, normally people that get involved in this kind of thing, they just want to go in. It's more like what you call a one chance, get things from people, food and other things that you need, and move on. But for people to deliberately plan and go into a school to kidnap kids from the school in order to get ransom, that is the hallmark of Boko Haram. So I will not be surprised that some of the elements involved in this atrocity are Boko Haram or terrorist tendency. I will not doubt it for 1 minute. I will not doubt it, because I am of the opinion that there is need for us to revisit the security strategy in our schools. We really, really need to do that, because if we do not do that, this can happen at any time. And of course, the president have spoken out, of course, this happened around 10 o'clock yesterday evening, and news have been talking. There have been a lot of news. The president more or less released a statement around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. time, Nigerian time, and of course, critics, from the Bring Back Our Girls campaign, were more or less complaining already on Twitter to say, we've been on the president's website, president Twitter page or government website, and nothing has been happening until when Shehu Garuba decided, which is a special advisor to the president, side, to come out and give a statement that the president is saying this is what the president is saying. How prefer, since the president is in town, it would be very, very good if some of the parents of those kids are taken to meet the president, so that the president can use that opportunity to speak and also reinforce his directive, to the security agents, that they should go out there and bring the girls back. This is not going to be an easy task, and I do not envy the security people that are going to be involved in this. But let me make it very, very clear. This is a failure of intelligence. No doubt in my mind, it's a failure of intelligence. It's a failure of intelligence in the sense that if the president is coming into a particular area, apart from the DSS, the police, the military that are involved, there will be a discussion about intelligence, security issues, concerns about the safety of the president. So how could a president get into a city? The same day the president got into the city, the daredevil bandits went into a school to pick up kids. It is unheard of. I am telling you now, it is unheard of. It should never have happened. And head should roll. The president needs to be commander-in-chief, and head need to roll, because it shows that the security apparatus in Katsina State are not working to their full capacity. Because if they are working to their full capacity, by now they should have people that have infiltrated those banditry groups and are in a position to give out live feed. Now, let me shock you. The Air Force have been carrying out a lot of operations, and we've been seeing them saying, oh, we use our surveillance, and we're able, using our drone or using our surveillance plane, we're able to see this banditry coming into, gathering together, and we go back and pump them. How come these guys gather themselves together, started driving into town, nobody stopped them, in a town where the president has just arrived, more than 20, 30 bikes, motorcycle bikes coming together. Not that they are doing kabu as we call it, or doing transport, local transport. They are coming with their guns and everything, shouting and coming. And yet there is no plane, nothing to follow them. And even when the incident happened and distress calls went out, because I believe there is no way distress calls will not have gone out. Nobody have said, okay, let's put a plane up in the sky to start monitoring where these guys are going. That is sad. That is really sad. In fact, it shows you that there is no safety in that country at all. No safety. And we need to really start asking ourselves very, very important questions. Now, I put my hands up. I have written intensively about this, and I've highlighted a lot of things that could be put into the school, like a panic room, a direct access number to the DPO in the area, because the school, if you have a school where there's boarding school, you should have direct dialing code number to the DPO or to the nearest police station in that place that you could sell distress calls. You should have reinforced gates. It should not be a gate that anybody can just enter after it's been locked at 10 o'clock at night, for God's sake. It should not be. And how many security people were there? What kind of arms were they carrying? Remember, after the incident in Yobe, civil defense were drafted in to help with school security. So we need to start asking questions about the civil defense in terms of what have they been doing, because why the police might be demoralized for what happened to their member, I don't see why, but civil defense is also demoralized. And what are they doing? Is it just petroleum pipeline that they are protecting? What about schools? And why are they not being used? Why are they not task force for school protection? One of the things I've asked for was the establishment of school security, and I also said school police officers, and I've said that there should be a commissioner of police for school. We have commissioner of police for rail, we have commissioner of police for airport, and this is why many people will ask the question about class, because it looks as if these kids were in a private school that is where we have children of rich people, very rich people, this will not have happened. Because all these attacks that have happened so far, all the attacks that have happened so far are all happening in poor schools, not in rich schools. Of course, the one in Lagos was different, and you could see how quick they were to get those kids back. Yeah? And that's why people talk about the fact that the security management in Nigeria seems to be class-based, because you can't go to an airport and go and cause havoc. They've never been a bomb blast in any of Nigeria airport, of course, and nothing like that at Nigerian rail, because those ones have serious security. They put people in there, security following the trains up and down the rail, the tracks, I mean. But when you talk about Yaya or those markets where it's just a normal market for the commoners, it looks as if it's easy. You know, when the incident happened, you put some policemen there and some military, and 1 week after, you withdraw them again and they go on the main road where they collect money from people, allegedly. So, you see, we need to look at this issue critically. And I'm really concerned that we are in a situation where, you know, this is happening. We need to start asking ourselves serious questions. You know, what is really happening? Why are we in a situation where we are now? What is really happening? Why is this happening? And what can we do about it? Because we cannot allow this to continue. We cannot allow this to continue, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, will be asking themselves now, you know, what should happen, you know, or in terms of school security. There is no amount of security that you could put in place if it's not in alliance, or if it doesn't align with security services methodology and approaches and policy, then you have a problem. Because these guys operated for more than maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes, and yet there was no security to come forward, no rapid response unit to come out. Because even if they have the panic room, they have the gates secured, they have their wall very high, they have the gates to the hostels reinforced. If there is no rapid response for police or the military or joint task force that can come in within 10 to 20 minutes, it's a waste of time, completely waste of time, because they will come in, they will break the door down. You know, there was a time in Lagos when they used acid on the wall to, you know, to soften the wall so they could go in and penetrate to the boundary. So we have a serious issue, you know, and we need to ask serious questions, because, you know, you could go into a marketplace and anything can happen. You could go into a shopping mall and anything could happen. But if you go to the airport, you can go to the airport with your eyes closed, and you know that before they could come in, airport that the governor is always coming in, governor is coming out, minister is coming out with the policemen that are carrying their handbags and their wives' handbag. It's not going to happen there. It's not going to happen. And that's the question that we need to start asking. How do we resolve this issue? What should be done? I want to talk about 5 solutions, 5 ways of addressing these insecurity challenges confronting our schools at the moment, especially during this COVID-19 period. What are the 5 things that we can do to deal with these insecurity challenges? And those are the things that I would like to, you know, to talk about. The first one, which I've mentioned earlier, and I'll expand on it, is that we need to have a commissioner of police for school. How will it work? I've been to Israel. I had the privilege of going to Israel and looking at security structure within the school system. And even in America, they have school police. And in the UK, they have wardens, they have neighborhood wardens and police officers attached to schools, so that when the school closes, the police officers will come to the school and just stand outside, sit in their van and just watch. And the kids go about and go away. So nobody can go there with the police there and start saying they are going to be kidnapping anybody or anything like that. So you could see that that will not happen there. So if you have a commissioner for police, a commissioner of police for school, what will happen is that that commissioner for police for school will be responsible for ensuring that there are designated desks for police officers that have an understanding of security issues in school. And those police officers now can now have as part of their job description, going into schools to look at their risk register to make sure that their risk register is fit for purpose, to make sure that their risk register addresses all these concerns, that they know who they are and they are having that discussion with them. It's those kind of things that you really need, because if you don't have those kind of situation on ground where the police have a mechanism to address issue of school security, then you have a challenge. But what we have now is people being raped in school, people being raped because it's rape is pedophile because they are minors, and people go in there, teachers are doing whatever they like, and there's nobody really stopping them, when I say stopping them, there's no mechanism in place to ensure that this does not continue. So we need to make sure that, there is a commissioner of police for schools, and that commissioner of police for school will address those concerns. It would have a unit that goes around training school children, training the principal and the designated person on school security issues, who to talk to if this happens, if there's a terrorist attack, this is what to do, if there's banditry, just normal armed robbery, this is what to do, if there's banditry, this is how to do it. Because all these schools, I bet you, if we ask the principal of the school, and I hope the Arise TV, the channel TVs of this world, the TVC will get in touch with the principal of the school, and the first question they should ask is, do you have a risk register? Because if they ask that question, do you have a risk register, I know what the answer will be. And what we don't want is the same incident that happened where the wife of the president in 2014 was crying on the TV set, crying about this issue. There is God, oh, there is God, oh. So there is God. And the question we need to ask is, why is it that people are making it difficult for God to operate effectively in our nation? How could we have the first one, second one, and third one? We are still battling with the return of Leah Sharibu. The issue seems to be dead in the ground. And I remember writing on this issue, drawing the attention of Mr. President to the fact that there is a case of the McCains, a parent that went to Spain with their daughter and left the daughter to go and have dinner with their friends, and the daughter disappeared. They believed she was adopted. She was taken through the window, and they are still looking for her up to today. Do you know that the police are giving special money, budget to deal with it? So they have detectives. So when they say there is a case, there is a sighting, Metropolitan Police, delegated police officers are sent there. In fact, they even went into Spain, they went to France, they went to different countries. They even went digging graves of sites of area where they believe the girl is. They even went into prison to speak to people that have been convicted of another offense. Have you ever heard of anybody in Nigeria who was picked up, who is a member of Boko Haram, being asked, okay, what about the Boko Haram girls? We know there was a time when they said the Boko Haram girls were in Chad, they were in jail. Nobody followed it up. Nobody followed it up. I believe it is high time now that the president set up a presidential task force on school security. And that task force will now work on adoption and all the kids that have been adopted, and they will have a response unit attached to them so that when they do their investigation, they'll be able to effectively, assign the package, intelligence package, to the security team that they have, who will go and carry out those raid or check on, interview, interview, conduct interview on people that have been suspected to have a hand in the Chibok girls, captured girls, or even now the Katsina girls that have been taken away from their school. Now, the first one, as I mentioned earlier, is the establishment of a commissioner of police for school. And I think the Inspector General of Police, the Inspector General of Police should ensure that that is done ASAP, that there's a commissioner of police assigned to deal with that. Because if you have a commissioner of police for rail and you have a commissioner of police for airports, why is it difficult for you to have a commissioner of police for school? Is it because they are children of poor people and you feel that they do not deserve to have a delegated team dealing with it? This is shameful, and we need to address this issue. The second one is that the president, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, should have a presidential team to look into adoption, school security, adoption in schools, so that the issue of Chibok girls, the issue of captured girls, and all the other issues that have happened surrounding education security, it will be addressed. I think that is very, very important. I think it is important that the president set up this team to show his commitment to the issue of bringing back some of these girls, because the military do not have the skill set. I repeat, Nigerian military do not have the skill set to bring back the Chibok girls, the captured girls, or even these girls in Katsina. They have the manpower, the firepower to go in and dislodge the team after investigation. But that is where their power stops. That is where their skills stop. They do not have the investigative skill to go and piece things together, piece stories and links together to follow and track these kids that have been taken. That is the job of the police. That is the job of the police. And that's the reason why I believe the police should be in charge of any investigation, or a joint task force looking into it. So that is my second recommendation. My third recommendation, which is very important, is that I am of the opinion that when the commissioner of police for school have been set up, that there is a team, the federal government either working with either civil defense and the police come together and have a team that will be policing schools. So their only job is just school policing. They don't do any job. They don't get involved in collecting money on the road or anything. Because when there are incidents that are crime related in a school environment, these people will have the training to know how to handle it. The vulnerability, because of the children, minors, will be able to handle it. They know about school issues. They've been trained and certificated. It's happening in America. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Israel. I've seen it with my eyes in Israel, and I believe it's very, very important that we have a similar structure in Nigeria. I also believe that the government need to look into the Safer School Initiative project and explain to Nigerians why is it that a lot of schools that are not in a good shape have not been able to access this fund, or been advised or been helped or assisted to attract this fund. It is very, 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 very important. Because you see, you can't just talk about, we're on top of everything, when these schools are not even habitable for children to go there. They're not convenient for children to have to have their lessons. This is scandalous that this is happening in the 21st century. We should not have a situation where kids are taken from a school, and we're talking of now. It happened 10 o'clock at night yesterday, which was 10 plus 12, 12 noon, 2 hours, and now we are now having, it's almost close to 24 hours now. It's about 22 hours since these girls have been missing. And yet, we know that every hour is critical. Of course, the president have given the instruction, and I know that the armed forces and the security agencies are already on the track on tracing these individuals. But the truth must be said that they are very late. They are quite late because they are starting quite late. If they have done this quite early, we will not be in a situation where we are now. And the question needs to be asked: what exactly is happening? Why are we in this situation where our security forces are reactive rather than proactive, which is the point that I raised earlier? Why are they reactive? Why is it that everything about Nigeria is always being reactive rather than being proactive? I think that there is need for serious reflection, a serious review of what is really happening, because this cannot be allowed to continue like this. We can't allow this to continue. We need to start asking ourselves critical question. The president was meant to be to address Nigerians to their representative at the House of Assembly and the House of Representatives. But the Attorney General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria decided that the president do not have to answer, to the honorable representative of the people, 360 of them, representing over 200 plus Nigerians. Now, okay, fair enough. That's in the prerogative of the president not to answer them, and they can't summon him, they can't have him arrested. But the question is, okay, he's not doing it. Why is he not speaking to his people? If you feel that Nigerians gave you millions of votes and you are only answerable to Nigerians, why is it that you are not speaking to Nigerians? Now you've traveled all the way to Katsina, and now where you are in Katsina, people, the bandits have actually come to your doorstep and rub salt and pepper, on the wound, and actually taking away 54 school kids, innocent kids, just like the president clearly highlighted. So there is a serious situation here. I wrote a book on school security, which I will advise you to go and look at if you're a parent, listening to me. That book will be very, very, very important. You could get it on Amazon. I wrote a book on that, more or less breaking down all these issues, difference between kidnapping and adoption, the different types of kidnapping, tiger kidnapping, this kind of different types, talking about it, the origin of school, security issues. I even went into discussion about the chronology of attacks that Boko Haram have carried out in schools. And now that we've now moved into banditries actually carrying out this attack, the question then now is, how do we stop it? Because we are moving into dangerous territory. We are now in a situation where once a group notices that another group can successfully get away with a particular type of crime, you will notice that within the next few weeks and months, there will be a bit of more of copycats, because that was how kidnapping started. Kidnapping started, and I wrote a book on that, which I'm going to be publishing very soon, called The Kings of the Road. You should look out for it. You can actually find it on my website, www.traz.org. That's trans, T-R-A-Z.org. And in that book, you know, I talked about the different kind of security challenges and issues. And when you're talking about kidnapping in particular, we have a serious issue with kidnapping. Serious issue and concern with kidnapping. And what do I mean by this? Simple. We started with kidnapping in Southside Nigeria. That was where it became prominent. And they were not kidnapping Nigerians. They were kidnapping foreigners. And a lot of people felt it could not happen. Just like the interview that I gave as far back as 2010-12, where I talked about suicide bombers. And they said it can never happen in Nigeria. Nigerians cannot kill themselves. Of course, we know what the answer is now. But I actually predicted it. And I talked about solutions. So when I talk about these things, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give you a political prophecy that between now and February, there's going to be another spectacular school security challenge, except we nip it in the bud. We need to cut this thing down. If we do not stop this ongoing incident, if we do not arrest this situation, we will get to a situation similar to the kidnapping situation that shifted gradually from South Nigeria into Southeast, and then they instantly started creating death penalty, and that more or less helped to quell down the incident. And then the incident moved into the south and then into the north, to the extent that tenants, and I mean tenants, started to kidnap their landlord in order to get ransom from them, and that money will be used to pay their rent. Could it be that ridiculous? Yeah. It got to a situation where children living with family members are now arranging for kids to be kidnapped, for their cousins to be kidnapped in order for them to get money. It got to the point where girlfriends are arranging their own kidnapping, or employees are arranging their own kidnapping so that their employer can pay ransom. That is Nigeria for you. That is how things work or roll in Nigeria. So the question now is, the governor of Katsina State had, as at this afternoon, called for the closure of all secondary schools, all boarding schools in Katsina State. Was he right to do that? Personally, I think yes. I think it's right to have done that, because there is no guarantee that another incident cannot happen, which is what I just highlighted, that between now and February, I am confident that if there is not a proactive approach to stem this insecurity, particularly with banditry moving into the territory of kidnapping school kids, there's going to be another serious school security incident that is going to happen. And to stop that, I've already highlighted what the government can do. Number one, I've said that there should be a commissioner of police for school, and he should be responsible for having police liaison officers in working with schools to ensure that they have the appropriate risk register in place, so that at least schools understand the risk and they know what to do in time of risk. Security challenges will always be there, so let's not kid ourselves, but it is how we react to it. If, for example, there was a link between, if, for example, there was a risk register in the Katsina school, they have measures in place to protect their kids, and those measures failed because they were overwhelmed, but the police responded, and before those people could get out of the school premises, load the children into the van or lorry or whatever they brought, they were intercepted by the police. And if not intercepted because they're carrying guns and weapons that are superior to the police, they are being monitored in the air so that wherever they go to, paratroopers are dropped in. Ha! Have you heard of Nigeria dropping paratroopers into anywhere in Nigeria since 2002 when this incident started to happen? No, not at all. All they do is drop bombs from afar, saying that they are killing Boko Haram and bandits, and yet nobody goes on ground to take pictures of those particular places, not the picture from on top. If everybody in that place have been neutralized, why can't you drop paratroopers into that place to take pictures and mop up on the ones that are still wounded or take evidence? Because not everything that you bomb, there will still be papers there, material, there might still be phone that you can still retrieve the data to know who they are calling. Or if you know who they are calling and you could see that they are calling a local government chairman or calling somebody, then at least you can trace those people. That's the reason why we're saying that this war needs to be smart. The way we are fighting it an analog war. We are addressing this thing an analog way in a 12th century approach is what we are adapting, which is very, very bad, which is sad, which is diabolical, And so, moving from the Commissioner of Police, I said there is need for the president to set up a presidential task force looking at school security. I think the issue of the Chibok girls should be taken away from the military because the military do not have the competence. The police have the competence, the military do not have the competence. Their competence are different. That doesn't mean the military is useless. It just means that the military do not have they are not trained for this kind of work. If, of course, the police do their basic work, intelligent work, and found out that the kids are in X or Y, they could use the military because they have the firepower and the capacity to go in there and ensure that they neutralize the people involved. I've also highlighted that there must be a command and control that is looking into this, because the McCain story, just like I said, the Metropolitan Police are given a budget to go. They go into country. I've never heard of Nigerian police or Nigerian army going into Chad, going into Lake Chad. In fact, some of the Chibok girls came back with kids. Some of them came back and said that when the Air Force were bombing their location, some of the Chibok girls were killed in the process. But I also recommended that I think since the president is in Katsina State as we speak, I strongly believe the president working with the governor of the state should bring the family of those kids to him for him to reassure them of his commitment to the safety and security of those kids and the fact that they will be returned safely. We should give them that reassurance. I also believe, and this is how, this is why I get very angry. If I bought a plane from the UK, which I normally do, to Nigeria, and on getting to Nigeria and on my way back, there is a problem with the flight. What do? Everyone on the flight are not asked to go back to their home. No. You don't send them to their home. What you do is that you move them to an hotel where they will be getting counseling. I have not heard of the IG talking about family liaison officers working with the parents of this traumatized, the traumatized parents of these kids to talk to them, because these are psychologists. These are people, because there's a mental health issue that will come out of this issue, of this scenario. So where is the police liaison officers, family liaison officer going to the families and talking to them about this issue and reassuring them and helping them? Move them out of where they are and move them into a hotel. Take a whole hotel, move them in, let them be eating for the next 3-4 days. In fact, even if it's a week, keep them there at least, so that the media don't get to them. You see, this is, and I know I'm giving out information which the media will not be happy with. But the issue is, if the government want to do damage control on this issue and control the narrative, the best way to do it is to say, all the families of the people that their children, the 54, you take them, move them into a hotel in Katsina, feed them day and night, and keep them away from the media, and then give them a daily brief on the issue. And when the media come to you and say, oh, what are you doing about this issue? How are you addressing it? Say, no, we're addressing this issue. We're on top of it because of the intelligence nature of this issue, the risky nature of this issue. We can't be giving running commentary on this issue. But the families involved in this issue are being taken care of. Now, please, if you have time, go and read my article on school security in Nigerian Vanguard 2014. I actually spoke about it, and I actually talked about moving families of these people to safe places and taking care of them, because that's where you'll be able to provide them with help. Now, let me tell you what is going to happen, another prophecy, because Nigeria have been embarrassed by the issue of Leah Sharibu that was taken, because the family have not been supported. Yes, Lai Mohammed went there, the minister went there with some people as a delegate of the president, to see them and talk to them. But the simple fact is, I don't think they get spoken to regularly. That's the work of the state, of course, or even the local government, not the federal government. But who will be held responsible? The federal government. See, so even if the state is not doing it, it's for the federal government to proactively now ensure and instruct the state and local government that this falls within your preview. This is part of your work, and you must take responsibility for it. That is what they should be doing, but they will not do it. That's the problem, and that is why I feel like pulling out my little head that is not there, because they are not doing what they should be doing, and we know it's on record that some of the Chibok girls' family died as a result of this issue. Some of them died of heart attacks, some of them died of health which is associated, mental health challenges which is associated with the issue of their kids not being brought back alive or not even hearing about their kids. We must not allow that to happen here. The president might want to, the presidency, and people in the federal government might want to claim was success, of the fact that the captured girls were returned back, and it was only Leah Sharibu that actually is still in captivity. But we must remember that more than 4 girls, I think if I'm right, 6 girls actually died on the route. And we never had anything about their family or anything. We don't even know if the government compensates the family or not. These are things that the government could do that will show that the government cares. But we've not seen that. Now, with regard to this issue, I've already mentioned 3 things that the government must do. We must now have a commissioner of police on schools. We must now have a presidential task force that is dealing with adoption. We must now have a command and control, which is a task force that will deal with the issue of school or kids or reported school adoption cases, and actually gathering intelligence and ensuring that there's a task force attached to them that will actually go about to do the raid. I'm saying that the military do not have the capacity to do this. This should be left to the hands of the police in a task force kind of arrangement, with civil defense, Navy getting involved, Air Force getting involved, military intelligence, Navy intelligence, bring everybody into it and give them a budget for them to start bringing back kids, school children that have been adopted by either Boko Haram or the banditry. And by doing this, the president will win hearts and mind, on this matter, because a lot of people will be watching her and be wondering, why is it so difficult that we can't address this issue? Now, I am also of the opinion that the family should be taken out, in order to manage the media issue, because it's an embarrassment. Imagine if Channels TV, Arise TV, TVC, even my own Ben TV in the UK, another BBC Africa, gets to the family, because that's what investigative journalism is all about. They get to the family 32 hours or 22 hours going, and then they call the family and say, have the local government chairman spoken to you? Has the president spoken to you? Have you had any news? And they give information which more or less embarrass the government. It doesn't sound well. So I hope the people handling the position of the president and working with the president will ensure that they make this an issue, make it an issue of urgency to approach the family of those that are 54 that have already at least so far been highlighted. Make sure they engage with them, take them away from the media, because they are actually in a stress now. And the police, like I mentioned, should have psychologists standby. Can I also use this opportunity to speak to associations of mental health practitioners in Nigeria, psychologists, to automatically move in? And this call will also go to members of Bring Back Our Girls who already have the structure. Let them help to ensure that the families of those people really get that 24-hour support that they need during this time, and ensure, President must ensure, that all the girls are returned back, and there is no selection of people, that they should not be divided along ethnicity line or divided along religious line, and some are connected, some are not connected. I hope that will not happen again, that we will not have a situation like the captured girls situation, where we have Leah Sharibu that is still with a captive. We're not sure if she's converted. We're not sure if the rumors that she has already given back is true. And yet, everybody's acting as if nothing is going to happen, nothing is happening. Now, if you have the police in charge of it, with the Navy and everybody working separately from the people, the police, the army, and the other police that is working with dealing with banditry or dealing with armed forces, dealing with Boko Haram, then you see that those groups, you don't need more than 50 people. So if you can give VIPs a lot of people across Nigeria, and you can't spare 50 to 100 police officers or security agents working together to actually deal with the issue of the Chibok girls, the issue of the captured girls, then it shows that what I'm saying about the class issue is right, because these people belong to a class that are not affluent, and as a result, the issue of the safety of their children have not been taken on board. Now, for normal schools that are in other parts of the country and do not have previous incident of adoption, then there are a few things that you could do. I would like to use this opportunity to recommend my book, which I'll be posting on my page after this broadcast, called Nigerian School Security. Get a copy of it. It talks about different things that you need to have in place. You must have a risk register. You must have a searching plan. You must have an evacuation plan. You must know your DPO in your area. You must know the nearest hospital to you. You must have plans and protocols in place on how security measures are being dealt with. All those issues are addressed in my book, and you'll be able to, it will really benefit you. The other thing I can highlight is that I also provide school security training online. So if you are listening to me right now, you're a commissioner of police, you're a commissioner of education in your state, across the 36 states, and you want your principals and you know designated school officers that are responsible for handling security to have good knowledge of this issue, then get in touch with me. Info at transcustodium.uk. That's TRAZCONSORTIUM.uk. Write to me. Check my website www.traz.org, and you can. I'll be more than happy, to speak to your people about school security issues, helping them to be able to put together a school security plan, a risk register, and how to manage it. I can train them on that. I can do that in 2 days. You can even do it in 1 day. So this is a call out to commissioners of education across the state, and also to governors. If you say it will not happen in your state, ask Lagos State, it happened in their state. If you say it won't happen in your state, ask Yobe State, it happened in the state. If you say it won't happen in your state, ask Borno State, it happened in their state. So it's happening all over, And the one we are talking about are the ones that are reported. What about kids that are taken out of school? What about kids that are taken out of school by kidnappers? Just 1 or 2. What about kids that are raped or molested in schools? What kind of security measures do you have in school? Parents association, teachers parents associations. What do you have in place? Have you had a security awareness training on school security? If you've not, it is an opportunity. If you are listening to me right now, you live in Europe, you live in America, and you have family members, uncle, cousins, nephews that they have children of school age, ask them, do they have discussions about school security, in their school? Have they been called for that kind of discussion? If they say no, then tell them, call Temitope Olodo. Temitope Olodo, you can Google my name, Temitopeolodo. Ask them to get in touch, and I'll be happy to work with them, in line with their budget, work with them, because this is very close to my heart, very close to my heart. I take this very seriously. So, and I think we need to start looking at this issue. But just like I said, if I can recap, it happened during the Chibok girls, and some of those girls are not back. Some of them have been killed in the process. It happened during the Kapchi girls in Yobe. No, some of them were returned. One of them was not returned. 6 of them more or less died, sadly. Now we're having it again. And 22 hours down the line, they've not been retrieved. Rather, the president have released a statement saying that he condemns it, which we applaud. The governor has also come out to say that all boarding schools should be closed, because if boarding schools are not closed, he can't guarantee their security, because they do not have the capacity within the state. So we must not blame the governor. In fact, we should applaud him for making that decision. But let me tell you something else that normally happens when this kind of issues happen. When this kind of issue happen, the surrounding states, like Niger State, all these states that are surrounding states, like Katsina State, they should be having an emergency discussion as we speak, where the governor will have a discussion with them on Skype or whatever to say, is our schools safe? Do we have the right measures? Are civil defense released into those schools? Those are the kind of discussions that should be happening right now, but we're not hearing about it. And it's very sad. Very, very sad. And I'm saying it's very sad. And after we start inviting CNN to come and come and explain themselves on why they are portraying Nigerian in a bad light. But we ourselves are not putting measures in place. I have not seen, apart from foreign researchers and foreign NGOs report on schools, I have not seen a report prepared by a Nigerian NGO looking into school security challenges, apart from the one from Amnesty International, Human Watch, and the others. You know, like I said before, if the lizard, a gamma lizard, jumped down from the high Iroko tree, seeing no one to congratulate him, he will congratulate himself for not breaking his neck. If we do not appreciate ourselves, how can we expect others to appreciate us? We need to move out of this vicious cycle. We need to move to the next level. So, what are you doing? Is our school safe? Or are our children safe? That is the question I pose today. Personally, I don't think that our schools are safe, not even from kidnapping perspective, but from variety of issues. Because if we do an FY request of the Ministry of Education in Nigeria and ask them how many of those schools have a risk register, in theory they will have it, in practice it's not there. And those are the questions that parents should ask now. Do you have a risk register? Do you have measures in place to ensure that adoption of children in schools, especially public schools, cannot happen? We need to do that. And except we do that, things will get from worse to worse. So at this point, I would like to stop. But thank you all for tuning in. And I look forward to speaking to you soon next week. And I'll be sharing the topic maybe 2 or 3 days before so that you could all tune in. My name is Temitope Olodo. I'm a preventive terrorism consultant, author, and president of Africa Security Forum, which is based in the United Kingdom with membership around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless you.